Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. This is the first podcast of Truly Your VA, and I am so excited because I have a very sassy guest on with me today, and that's part of her name, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But let me tell you, she really is the Pinterest go-to person. I call her the guru. Even when I have a quick question, she's like always there to help me out. She is really just the person you want to go to. I am so excited to welcome back to the Truly Your VA podcast, Sarah, Ankney, Regina. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait to chat.
Yes, and of course, we're talking all things Pinterest. And this is actually Sarah's second appearance on my podcast. She previously was on June 21st, 2022. And of course, we'll make sure the link for that is in today's show notes. Sarah, Pinterest is not just for saving your recipes to anymore. It's just honestly is just so much more than that. And I don't think at this point that we've really tapped enough into Pinterest. Like people don't realize the potential of Pinterest. And today we're going to get more into the nitty grittiness of it. What can you tell us about Pinterest that maybe something you've learned recently?
There's a couple things I've learned recently. So instead of having like a number of boards, like a massive number of boards, you should keep it to 5 to 10.
Okay.
Okay. Because before they were like, add as many as you can, get all your stuff out there. But they want you to simplify it and add 5 to 10 boards instead of all of the boards. So I went through my one account and just erased everything. I have a second account I teach people on, but my original account has five boards. That's it right now.
Whoa. Now I have a question about that. Because as somebody myself that's in the process of growing my Pinterest account, how did you tackle that? In other words, for instance, I am the host of 3 podcasts.
Well, for example, you would have 3 different boards for your podcasts. Okay. And then you would have, I would go towards the 10 for you just because of, what you do. And then I'd have, whatever else, like whether it's business tips, social media tips, whatever hits your niche. So for mine, it's like Pinterest tips, Pinterest strategy, Pinterest analytics, all those type of posts. Plus you should have an about me, about Sarah, Ankney, Regina, or about Janice, those ones. That's where you put your testimonials in and stuff like that. So are you posting testimonials? Because that's a new thing too.
Posting testimonials. No, I've never done that before.
Yeah, post your testimonials and then link it back to your website page where your testimonials are, or your main page if they're running on the bottom, because mine run on the bottom. Wherever your testimonials are, so they can go see more of it, so then they want to connect with you.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about our Pinterest accounts and 5 to 10 boards. And you're saying for me, because of the podcasting, especially with 3 different podcasts, I would be more toward the 10. I know that before you had mentioned to me to start a social media board.
Mm-hmm.
How would one, for instance, in my niche, word that? Would it just be called social media?
Social media tips and tricks, or social media information. But there are ways you can find out how to name your boards. Pinterest, if you go in and you type social media, there's little bubbles that pop up at the top that are multicolored. They'll give you different topics. So you can like write down all those keywords, which are important for your descriptions too. So just write the keywords down, period.
Gotcha. And
and
speaking,
it'll give you ideas.
yeah, because I remember when we had that conversation last week, I just started a social media board and I put one thing, one pin on there, but I was like, I don't think I'm using this the way or setting it up the way it should be set up. So you mentioned something which I think is key. Okay, the keywords.
Yes, Pinterest SEO is so important because you got to remember it's a search engine first. And because if you do it correctly, your pins and your posts will pop up on the Google feed too.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
It's like your website SEO. So if you say you're posting a blog post and you have a lot of SEO in your blog post, make sure you have SEO in your pin description so that, and it matches what's going on in your post so that you have more traction, not only on Pinterest, but Google.
Gotcha. So obviously the SEO aspect of it, which kind of tags with the keywords, is critical to your pins showing up in someone's feed.
Yeah, and the success of your pin. You
Ah,
know, the more views you get, the more you're seen. Plus the impressions, plus that's more of a chance for somebody to click and save your pin. Speaking of saving pins, just so we know, it is no longer, if you have a business account, to repin other people's stuff. You just pin your own. So that's like 5 fresh pins daily is, you know, the recommended. But I tell my clients, if you don't have enough content, post 1 to 3 till you can get to the 5.
okay. So with doing those 5 pins a day, one would have to kind of back it up a little bit and start with perhaps the content ideas
Mm-hmm.
and do some research on the keywords. Now, before we hopped on, I briefly asked you something about hashtags and you said they no longer use hashtags.
No, there's no more hashtags on there. At the end of your description, say you have a little bit of space left, you could put keywords at the bottom there that maybe you didn't use in the description, as long as it's relevant to that pin. You don't want to put a keyword there just to put a keyword there. You need to put keywords relevant to the pin. So if you're talking about social media and especially Instagram, you will want to talk more about Instagram tips, Instagram strategy, Instagram marketing, etc., etc.
So I guess what I'm going to ask now is, would it be beneficial for someone who's well-versed in hashtags, maybe to do a hashtag search just to see what is relevant popping up and maybe take those keywords out of there, not set it up as a hashtag per se?
Absolutely. And there's other ways on Pinterest, but it's super hard to explain on a podcast.
Gotcha.
For you to do the keywords. And they come up with a massive amount, like, and they'll tell you what is getting viewed and what is not getting viewed on Pinterest. So Pinterest has tons of tools for you to use to get the keywords. You just have to know how to use it. The second one, I can't explain how to use because, like I said, it's more of a visual thing to show you where to go.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So now we have our 5 boards. What is, and I think this is important to ask because, you know, someone who's like, yes, I want to grow my Pinterest account, but oh my God, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Well, how can I get an understanding or how can I grasp everything that I have to do? Would you say that it would be a good thing? Let's say, as you mentioned, that you tell your clients to pin at 5 times a day, but if you can't, at least 1 to 3. Would it work out for your client or whomever is listening to perhaps look at that and say, okay, I'm going to talk Instagram strategies. How am I going to find those keywords? How to start? Are there any, I guess what I'm trying to ask in a very roundabout way is, when you put in a keyword like how to start Instagram,
Right.
can there be a series of words, or does it have to be just one word?
It can be a series of words. That's called a long tail keyword. So it's multiple words in the thing. So, it'll be how to use Instagram strategy. That would be a keyword. So you can do that. Look up for keyword generators. There's free keyword generators. Type in
Okay.
your thing. Now, if you pay for them, you get better results.
Right.
But you can at least get an idea. So there's something I want to talk about is create a little spreadsheet for yourself. So say you have a post idea for Instagram strategies. Okay, we'll just use that since we're talking about Instagram.
Okay.
You could do a blog post on that. You could do a video on that. You could do a freebie on that. And then you can make another idea pin about that. So that's 5 different, that's like, several different pins you can make from one idea. Okay. Then we're going to want to go search the keywords up. Then we're going to want to make a goal for each of them. Do you want to drive traffic to your website? Do you want to drive traffic to your email list? So each of those different pins are going to have a different goal. Okay. So after that, you can write your description out for each of those pins. You can add the URL. So all you're doing is copying and pasting right back into your Pinterest once you've done all that work. And it breaks it down because then you have one idea. You can post 5 different things about that one idea that you had. Just don't post the same link every day. Post it every 2 weeks.
So when you're saying create a spreadsheet, and you mentioned for a blog post, a video, a freebie, or an idea pin, would one of those, let's say the blog, you wouldn't all of those in one day, would you?
No.
Okay, so
No.
you would space it out, like maybe do the blog on Monday, the next one on Wednesday, however they want to arrange it.
Right. You don't want, because they count it as spam if you do it over and over and over.
Okay.
Okay. What else? There's no longer personal boards on there. I used to recommend that you have a personal board so that people would know you. No longer personal boards. It's all straight business on your business account.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so no personal board.
So do you have any questions for me?
Oh my God, I always have questions. So, as I said, that I am a host of 3 podcasts. What are some other boards for perhaps a podcaster would be beneficial for me to have?
Okay, so what topics do you cover in this podcast?
I cover digital business, online entrepreneurship. For instance, having a Pinterest person who's very sassy. That's her nickname, by the way. I keep saying that and I never explain that. I have, Canva.
So you could have a couple of boards like business tools, digital marketing, of course, the social media, because that's part of digital marketing. And a lot of people search up social media stuff because that's how I started with posting on social media, is using Pinterest. I taught myself how to do it using Pinterest. So it's an educational tool. So you want to make sure that the right keywords are there in the title so people know, oh, there's a whole board that I can explore about social media, or there's a pin that has social media. It's really important that those keywords are in there so that when people are searching, they find them.
Okay. Gotcha.
So what's your other podcast about with your sister?
Well, that's the Two Sisters podcast where we share a love of wellness through fitness and nutrition. And we have 5 themed days. For instance, Monday is Monday Mindset. Tuesday is Triumph Tuesday. Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday. Thursday is Trending Thursday. Friday is Fantabulous Friday. And kind of everything that encompasses our wellness around us.
So you could have a fitness board, you could have a recipe board, you could have a mindset board. So I'm pulling topics out of your shows for your boards. And then you have a third podcast. What's that one about?
That's called Stories That Inspire Us, inspired by my son's accident. And I share, it's a platform for others to come on and share their stories of whether it be triumph over tragedy, whether they were down and out, broke, and they just lifted themselves up to create an amazing business. And also I recently started the author series on that podcast. In fact, all these books you see
Or
are
all?
authors that have been or will be on my podcast.
Well, that's a great way to also segue into something else with the books anyways. You could become an Amazon affiliate and use affiliate links on Pinterest. So say those books, you want to promote them on Pinterest, books worth reading. That's a good, title. You would get sign up for an Amazon affiliate, use the links that are in there. And if when you recommend those books, you can tell them, hey, on my Pinterest board, there's, a link to all the books that we've gone over, and people can go over and buy it. So then not only is the author getting, what do you call it? I can't think of it right now, but
Joel or
yeah,
royalties.
You're getting sales too as a passive income.
Food for thought. I have to just hire you, Sarah. So oh my gosh, so many great ideas. And I just want to segue over just for a moment and welcome all of my amazing listeners currently on the Wisdom Audio app. Thank you so much for being here. And Sarah, is it okay with you if we maybe have somebody who's on the Wisdom Audio app that may have a question for you to invite them up to ask you a question? Is that all right with you?
That's perfectly fine.
Okay, Wisdom, if you have a question about Pinterest, I think we have time to take perhaps 2 guests to come up and ask a question to Sarah. She is the sassy guru of Pinterest, and we of course are talking all things Pinterest. A lot of great conversation, of course, on keywords and SEO. And for those who don't know, I think pretty much everybody knows SEO is search engine optimization. And I think the key is really to do your homework ahead of time.
Absolutely.
And how do you prepare, for instance, what you're going to talk about? Can you walk us through?
I prepare I start with my content I want to do for a year. It sounds really weird, but I start with ideas for each month, and then I break it down into topics for each week. And then that's how I do with the Pinterest too. I break it down. So then I could talk about, Pinterest marketing strategies, Pinterest strategy itself. There's multiple ways to do it. Pinterest goals. Goal settings are really important. So I could break it down, and then each of those ideas could be broke down 5 times. So you're getting so much content to put out there. That's what I'm saying. You can't put the 5 posts out a day. Now, say you have one idea, you put 5 ideas there, you break them down into 5 little pieces, vary it up. You got 5 posts for that day.
Now, speaking of that, and I just want to kind of bounce this off of you, of course, the Two Sisters podcast, where we have 5 theme days, that may be, I could, so like, let's talk about Mondays, Mindset Monday. I can do kind of things obviously related to mindset, and maybe what has worked, what hasn't worked, or maybe it may be another podcast that I listen to that motivates me to work on my mindset. Does that sound about right?
Absolutely. It could be anything. Like, so you're talking about mindset, and a lot of people have issues with money mindset. We'll just go into that.
Right.
So there's so many issues, there's so many topics you could talk about money mindset with. It could be affirmation. Affirmations are so important to that. You know, B, it could be the gratitude for what you're receiving, whether it's money or abundance, you know. So there's different topics under that.
Oh, and I think we just went, there we go. We lost you just for a second there.
Sorry.
No, that's
But
okay.
you could have 5 posts under money mindset, and that would start you off for, you know, 5 days that week. For the same link.
Now, whether you're a podcaster like myself, and a podcast booking and marketing manager, I mean, I could also obviously bring marketing into it as well. But for someone who, when you had mentioned a spreadsheet, and I think the spreadsheet is a great way to keep yourself organized. For instance, if a topic pops into your head, and, you know, marketing, well, marketing is like that big umbrella, you know, those big umbrellas, but there's so much under that umbrella. And like you said, to kind of start to narrow it down to what may interest me as far as in the podcasting field. So here's podcasting is big, but then underneath it, marketing, and what else goes into that. Okay, so I guess I'm trying to like reason with myself as I'm rambling here, what may work for me. But I think that's a great way for someone who really wants to get their Pinterest working in such a way where it doesn't feel like, oh my God, now I have to post 5 times a day. All right, there's the 5, but let's start to break it down in a way that makes sense. And I want to go back to what you said about how you do yours a year at a time. Is that?
Well, I do my social media content ideas a year at a time, but I take them and I can break them up on Pinterest too. So it's, well, I'm breaking it up on social media, I can break it up in different ways on Pinterest. So just because I say like under one topic, you could have 5 little subtopics, there could be way more subtopics under it. I'm just giving you a suggestion of 5 to start with.
Gotcha. Wow. I am learning so much right now. My head is like spinning, and that's why I've got like my hair like flying around again, but that's okay. I have issues. What can I tell you? I divert a little bit. Again, I want to thank everyone on the Wisdom Audio app. We do have time for 2 guests to come up. Sarah, what would you say if someone is like, this is just too overwhelming for me? What is your process for working with your clients? Like, how do they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. I answer messages on both of those because they go straight to my phone fairly quick. You can also email me at sassy@sarahankney.com. And it's sarahankney.com because I recently got married and I'm switching everything over. So you can also just look me up in Google. You'll see my Pinterest boards. Right now, my Pinterest boards suck because I'm starting to implement new strategies into it. So please bear with me when I do that. And like I said, Pinterest is awesome, but also remember it has its ups and downs like any social media platform, any Google platform, anything like that. So bear with it. When you have a downspin, it'll come back up.
Right, because there's so many ins and out with different social media platforms. YouTube, for instance, just came out with, you can actually do a regular social media post. And I kind of found out about that by accident. And I think that's really interesting. And with Pinterest, when we were talking last week, I had just found out that you can now go live on Pinterest.
Yes. You can go live. Just remember, it is an application process. So you'll have to do a little video beforehand so that they can see. That's how you get access to it. I think they're making sure you're not overboard for what they want to do. I mean, it is live. They can't edit you out.
Sure. Right. And what I have noticed in my Pinterest account are the idea pins. Those seem to be a hot.
They do so well. Yes. So I always tell my clients on the last page to make sure they put their website or a way to reach them, or if they're talking about a program, write the link to the program. So that way your audience knows where to go, because right now there is no links associated with the idea pins. I think they're coming out with them. Don't quote me, but I've heard rumors that they're coming out with the links can go in the idea pins as well as the video pins. So we'll see.
Oh, okay. Would it be in that case then beneficial, like say you go to do an idea pin, can you maybe at the end of the week do a blog post about that idea pin and link it to your website? I mean, kind of a funky way of around that, but
yes, absolutely.
So as a Pinterest guru, what is your favorite thing about Pinterest?
I think it's the fact that it is so educational, informational. Like you can learn so much. I started my personal growth journey on there as well. You know, I had a bad mindset. I had issues with money mindset, and I just explored it. So if you're not sure about starting it for business, go explore it. See what's on there. Type in what your niche is. See what's out there. If it's already being talked about, that's a great way to be talked about even more.
Ah, got you. So somebody, for instance, looking to get on a podcast probably may search entrepreneurship or business podcasts, something of that nature, correct?
Podcast guesting. There's so many different things. If you put podcast in, it'll break it down again in the little bubbles.
Okay.
And then if you have a specific area like being a guest on a podcast, put the whole being a guest in a podcast in there like you would in Google, and stuff will pop up.
Oh, now I really get what you're saying. I know, you know, you could probably smell the wood burning. But I forget sometimes, as you said, Pinterest is a search engine.
Yes, it is. So you want to make sure you're searching the words that need to be searched. That's why it's a good way to get the other keywords so that you're getting what everybody is looking for.
Now, Sarah, how would somebody go about contact you? And you mentioned different ways to get in contact with you, but do you, for instance, offer a consultation? Like, how does all that work?
I offer a free 30-minute consultation where I offer you tips and tricks for your Pinterest, or if you're just starting, offer you ideas on how to start your Pinterest. I also offer classes, and I also offer done for you services.
Ah, done for you services sounds pretty interesting for me. Wow, that is awesome. If you were to do a Pinterest board that you knew would just explode your business, what do you think is the most important Pinterest board you could have up for your business?
it has to be exactly what your niche is, you know. So you're into podcasting, you do VA work, those topics will be so important to your boards. So for me, it's like Pinterest tips, pin tips, Pinterest board tips, Pinterest strategy, Pinterest marketing, all those are important. Even like Canva graphics and stock photos is important because you need those to use to create the Pinterest pins, which, by the way, Canva has the perfect size for the Pinterest pins.
Yes. Yeah, those I do use. And I guess my question about the actual pins, going back to the posting 5 a day, should those pins, number one, be your brand color, or can they be maybe your first one, the brand color, and then different colors?
Yes, as long as you are, you know, in a general thing, because fresh pins are where it's at. If you oversaturate it with your brand colors, then people are gonna get sick of it. They want fresh, they want light. I use a lot of white on my pins just because it pops up the pictures, it pops the lettering. I use a minimalist feature like on mine just because I don't want it overcrowded. Now, if you have products, that's a whole different thing. You know, you can put multiple products, but you don't want it overcrowded. You want the words to pop and to be big so people can see them, and you want people to understand them. So make sure they're clear and concise on your pins. Some people even put different titles that they would put for their blog post if they want to put multiple blog posts. So say my blog post is about Pinterest tips. I could put Pinterest strategy tips. I could put Pinterest marketing tips on that thing, but it still goes back to that blog where it says Pinterest tips.
Gotcha. Okay.
That way it's a way of creating a fresh look to it and getting it out there again.
Now, as you mentioned, not to oversaturate with your brand colors, what would be, and you mentioned white is one of your favorite colors, what would be some different type of color schemes? Like, do you?
I also use a light pink,
Okay.
like almost transparent pink. So like for your example, your colors, whatever colors, you would use a light transparent color. So say yours is like a dark blue color. We'll just use that as an example. You can make that into transparent on Canva where it's a transparent color. So it's not so bold out there, but it makes it light and minimalist and clean and clear.
Okay, now I understand what you're saying. So if you have like your brand colors, you can turn it down or turn it up or whatever to make it look different.
Right.
And I happen to be obsessed with gradient colors. I don't know why, but I just find that wow, I really like that. So this is giving me a lot of good ideas. We do have time for one guest at this point to come up. So if you have a question for Sarah, we would love for you to come up. Sarah, you know, in talking social media, of course, you know, I'm in podcasting and, you know, being AVA, there's so many different social media platforms that I could use to my avail. What is important to you about social media? Meaning, what do you want people to get out of your social media with your Pinterest?
One, I want them to get the message that it's about more than recipes and crafts, because a lot of people still think of that, even when I've talked to other business owners. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize that. And they go look up and they see all the things there. But two, I want them to get the value out of it. I want them to know I do a monthly training in my group where I talk about things. Last month, I did a deep dive into SEO. So it would help you understand the background of SEO and why SEO is so important. This month, I'm going to do it on the Pinterest buyer's journey, because it's important for you to have your buyers have a journey on Pinterest that they go through, just like they would on social media, just like they would if they're watching TV commercials. So that's why it's important to do that. So every month I do a different training. So I try to offer value along with awareness.
So practical tips for guiding your buyer. It's important to know, I would think, on how they search for things, why they would want to buy from you.
Right. Do results, even if it's your results on social media, because it's like a testimonial. Post your testimonials. That's really important. We often don't give ourselves the credit we deserve for doing a good job. So post your testimonials, post your results. People want proof of what's going on. They want to see the results and post your results. So for example, I had one of my clients get up to 24K. Now you can get way more than that, but that was in a couple month period that I had done that.
Gotcha.
So you just have to, keep working at it. And of course they go up and down, the monthly views and things like that. But it's important on your social media to show social proof, also to show who you are. So when you're writing your blog post, put a little bit of you in it. When you're writing your results, put a little bit of you in it. People want to get to know you.
Okay, so I am so glad that you said that, because that gives me a great idea. As I showed you in this corner, these are all the books that I have, people that have been at Stories That Inspire Us, the author series. So maybe after, and I'm just thinking out loud here, maybe after I do all the promotion of post podcasts, maybe to do a review, a blog post about how I read the book and, what I felt about it and how amazing it was.
Yes. And then make sure you link that Amazon link in there.
Absolutely. I have to remember to do that. And quick question. Am I in that? Am I in your Facebook group?
At one time you were. I don't know if you still are, because I've changed the names a couple times. My name is Pinterest for bloggers, coaches, and podcasters.
Okay.
It may not be in that exact order, but it's Pinterest for those 3 items. Okay. So if you would like to join the group, you're welcome to come join the group, find out what it's about. Even if you just don't know anything about Pinterest and want to learn, you're welcome to come into the group. I offer times to ask questions. I'm offering that free call so you could learn how to get started. All those things are in the group, and I try to post it on my social media accounts too, but the group is where I post most of my value.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. I will have to make sure I get the link for that from you. That would be great. Oh my gosh, we have covered some amazing information, Sarah. You really have not only given myself such great value, I know you have for our many viewers, and of course listeners right now on the Wisdom audio app. Thank you again for being here, all of you on Wisdom. Wow. I will have to obviously make sure I have all my pins in order, as well as all of you should who have Pinterest accounts. And I'm wondering, so I have a question for everyone listening right now. And I understand sometimes when people ask you to come up on stage, it may be a little like, and I'm like that still, even though I'm blabbing every day, of course. But go to my website on my profile page and let me know, do you have a Pinterest account and do you use it for business? I'm just curious to know. So if anyone out there listening wants to do that, that would be great. Go to
that would be awesome.
w.trulyyourva.com. And of course, Wisdom. All of my listeners can hit my profile on my page there and go directly to the website. Inquiring minds want to know. Sarah, I can't thank you enough for being here today and really, oh my God, sharing some valuable, great information between, how we should post on Pinterest, how important the keyword search is with SEO. And remember, of course, you know, it's not just for your recipes anymore. Thank you so much for being here today, Sarah.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed myself, and I hope your audience find what I've said helpful.
Oh, I'm sure they do. And obviously, I do hope that you will consider coming back again real soon. And maybe
I
we
would
could
love to. There's so much I could talk about.
yeah, maybe we could do an on-air Pinterest review of my account.
That would be awesome. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
wow. Yeah, we'll have to get that one going. Well, everyone, again, I want to thank everyone for being here today. Remember, if you are an online entrepreneur, it's all about the connection. It's all about engaging and collaborating. And what better way to do that than through Truly Your VA with Janice? If you want to become a guest, please feel free to go to my website and register as a guest. Oops. I hate when that happens. There's a call coming in and I'm trying to talk here. The beauty of live podcasting. But on that note, this is Janice, Truly Your VA with Janice podcast with the amazing Sassy Sarah, and she is your Pinterest guru. Thank you everyone for being here today, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye for now.